So, in spite of my accent, being British, I live in Oslo in Norway. And so getting here today presents me with some interesting choices about how to achieve that. And on all the previous times I've come to ACCU, I have chosen to fly. That involves a short 40-minute rail journey in Norway, followed by flying from Gardermoen to Heathrow, and then out on the GWR to Bristol. Takes 3 or 4 hours. However, in Scandinavia, and Sweden in particular, we have this word, flygskam, which literally means flight shame. And anyone who's spent any time in Scandinavia will know there's a very strong culture of social compliance, driven largely by shame of various kinds. Now, if you thought that naming your tests was difficult, here's a problem, a very significant problem. We need to reduce emissions faster than we have managed to increase emissions, which is a very significant problem indeed. Now, I come at this with very much the zeal of the converted. I spent 13 years working in the oil and gas industry writing force multiplying software. I like to think substantially increasing the amount of hydrocarbons that we managed to produce off the Norwegian continental shelf, to my shame. And now, as owner of a small company with Austin here, we have a climate policy or an ethical policy which includes no longer working with oil and gas production or service companies. And this is a policy we've needed to invoke 3 or 4 times over the last few years.
You might want to check that. It says it's going to work longer.
Yeah, I'm aware of the typo. So, we don't have time for questions in lightning talks. So this year, I decided to travel by rail from Oslo to Bristol. Unfortunately, the trains don't start running early enough where I live, so we had to start by car, driving into Oslo for 40 minutes. Arrive at Oslo Central Station at 6:01 on Monday morning. We have high-speed trains in Norway that run at 210 kilometers an hour. Unfortunately, we have low-speed rails, and so much of the journey was undertaken at 37 kilometers an hour, particularly on the bit from the last station in Norway towards Sweden. I got to Gotthard at 9:45, and really this was a tour of major civil engineering structures of Northern Europe. This is just fantastic. I've seen it before from the outside, as you see it here. Traveling over it at 175 kilometers an hour is just wonderful. That gets us to Copenhagen at 14:29 on Monday. Then we get to transit another wonderful piece of civil engineering, the Great Belt Fixed Link. This includes the first undersea crossing on the journey of 8 kilometers under the sea between 2 Danish islands. And eventually on a Danish train, we arrive in Hamburg at 20:02, and that's day 1. So spend the night in Hamburg. At day 2, we depart Hamburg at 6:46. Wonderfully, I managed to accidentally book myself on the Gotthard Panorama Express train in first class. And so I had this wonderful carriage to take me to Cologne at 10:50. Then on the first German train that I took in Germany was to Brussels at 13:35. I had time in Brussels to go and see a few sites and eat this rather epic waffle. Then Eurostar at 15:56. Tunnel sous la Manche to London St Pancras at 5 o'clock. Across London in 32 minutes to Paddington. And then on God's Wonderful Railway to Bristol at 19:13. It's entirely possible. It takes 2 days, but you can work all the way if you want to. It's just like being in an office with an incredible view. So I really recommend this kind of long-distance rail travel. Take your time, slow your life down, enjoy yourself, consider your travel choices. Right? I haven't worked out the CO2 benefits of this versus flying. Some of the trains were diesel, but it's just better. Thank you.